What's good? It's Fever. So it's time to check back in with Ashes of Creation, hot from their latest showing over at PAX East. Now, I want to outright state in the beginning here, I would like nothing else than to see this project succeed. I also haven't talked about Ashes of Creation in over 7 months when I got to put my own hands on the game during PAX West, and the only reason I'm talking about it now is the same reason many other gaming news publications are talking about it again. These conventions are large public showings of what they've been up to, what they are, and a chance to network and connect with fans. It's kind of a big deal. Now, when I've spoken with people who were there, who sat in the 4-hour lines to play Ashes of Creation, when I watched the streams or the stuff they personally have curated and upload to their channels representing their presentations, their Q&A, the demo, I just get so disappointed. It's basically the same showing as 7 months ago. It's a guided dungeon run, peppered with a couple of contextual abilities, just with different art that if I did have a problem with, I would be told, don't worry, it's just placeholder. And Ashes of Creation has had its fair share of criticism thrown at it, some well-reasoned and some absolute crazy talk. For me, when I'm looking at these showings, I don't actually care about the assets, the textures, the meshes, the animations, the HUD, the interface. I am 100% well aware, as most are, that it's in development. I want to see some of the ideas that have been shared and been responsible for one of the, if not the largest MMORPG crowdfunded project to date, implemented in some way in the game. I don't care if it's done in gray box or with stick figure art, I really want to see the systems and the vision come to life. But the problem I have with Ashes of Creation is saying, in this game's world, your actions dictate outcome. Through being active in areas and contributing in the different ways that your character can muster or your own personal playstyle preference, the landscape could be altered. Vendors and towns may spring up, mines and dungeons made accessible. Incredibly, had you and other fellow adventurers taken different actions, the outcome itself would have been different, and so the outcomes are a reflection of the players playing the game themselves. Now I was talking about Guild Wars 2, but that also paraphrases Ashes of Creation's node system. In fact, it paraphrases specific zones found in World of Warcraft, or Pathfinder, or a whole host of other games. My problem with Ashes of Creation is so many things are said that mean almost nothing. They are these vague outlines of ideas that border on generalities that could be interpreted or designed in many different ways, interlaced with an almost MMORPG fan service rhetoric. Yes, crafters and crafting will be important, they will be sought after, and a playstyle in their own right. Cue the applause. How? We don't quite know yet. We haven't gotten to that point, but it's something we feel very strongly about. So when I see these playable demos showing off basically nothing, and the same nothing as last year, I'm frustrated. I follow Ashes of Creation, and they have had a bit of an alpha test, Alpha 0, which is under NDA, and I believe was Friends and Family, which in a past live stream, we've been made aware that the focus of that was technical.
Our test for Alpha 0, this pre-alpha test, was not a content test. It was a mostly technical test.
So even if they didn't have anything else to show us, what would have been cool is to have the dungeon they showed, maybe even just cloned and connected. Maybe in the boss room, all of the different dungeons funnel into it. So as the testers move through, they get to the boss and they all meet up kind of, and it's a cool moment, but it also allows people watching to see the development of the game, see that they can have 20 people on the screen in the same open world dungeon seamlessly. This on one hand would definitely start to answer some of the stronger criticisms that have been levied against Ashes of Creation, but the thing about this transparent development is we want to see development, not rotating placeholder assets. In other pre-PAX live streams, they've showed this thing where the makeup of the races of people in a zone contributing to a node changed a town's architecture. I thought that was really cool, and I was hoping that they were going to expand upon stuff like this in this demo. Ashes of Creation, if it's anything, is its node system, and I get that it might be hard to explain to some people, so instead, show us the node system and its possibilities, even if it's not in full scope or scale. Have your testing party choose between prefab characters that differ in race, and then they just start their journey from a town that reflects those choices. Have a 5 to 10 minute preparation phase where the testers can interact with their region in typical MMORPG fashion, killing mobs, exploring, picking flowers, whatever, and show us dynamic outcomes. Maybe they killed one too many trolls and the trolls attack the town. They explore too heavily on mountains and start to trigger an avalanche they need to defend against. Or they discover a volcano and somehow now it's all about protecting the townspeople from an incoming eruption. I understand for the most part that you need to have sort of a playable experience, but especially for an MMORPG, show us some systems. The way that this is sort of set up with this dungeon run seems like it's more set up for the walk-ins or the walk-bys at PAX, or for the people that have already bought into it. But the people that are just kind of taking a step back and being like, oh, I hope that turns out well, it doesn't even feel or give off that MMORPG vibe when you just do like a dungeon run clip. And another thing is, I don't want to shatter the illusion for some people, but if you do a quick Google search, just Google RPG or MMORPG and Unreal Engine 4, maybe showcase, template, demo. I don't mean to take anything away from Ashes of Creation or Intrepid Studios, but if you're impressed with its showing, you might be impressed for the wrong reasons. Something you see a lot of is, I've played other alphas and this looks so much different and further along than all the other ones. And I think that's kind of a symptom of people not quite knowing how far along certain engines and templates our builders are. And when you start looking at things like Unreal Engine 4, that's when you start to understand some of the criticisms and understand the strengths and weaknesses of it. I think my highlight from its showing was actually the dungeon levels design and layout, which kind of was butchered by some very weird lighting and some saturation issues, but I thought was pretty rad. The open, multi-leveled, short sort of corridor bridge-like things between certain areas was really cool, especially just thinking about how collision and knockdowns and knockbacks could work with it. Now, the reason it's been so long since the last time I talked about Ashes of Creation is sometimes I feel like I'm crazy talking about it, because I'm not negative against the project, and I'm saying the things that I really believe everyone, even the diehard supporters, should be saying, but I look around at different MMORPG publications and YouTubers and Twitch streamers, and I just see this onslaught of, this game changes everything, this is the future, check out my link in the description for a chance to get into alpha, and somehow asking, how or what makes you think that? I get more hate doing that than when I've talked about any other game in the years that I've been doing YouTube. Personally, I think that Steven has it all figured out in his head. He can talk endlessly about the most minute details for quite a while. Steven is pretty long-winded, but the thing is live stream after live stream, showing after showing, it's not like he's tripping up or backtracking or making mistakes. It's all sort of cohesive, it's just that vision is in his head only. I just want to see it. It's just this weird online culture of praising and defending a product before it exists that just does not compute with me. As Ashes of Creation stands now, it isn't even a proof of concept, and not buying into something that doesn't exist yet does not mean that you are anti that thing. At this point, it's not even criticism because there isn't anything to criticize, there's only, okay, we're waiting for you to show us something. That all said, hopefully it shows up again at PAX West, and I'll get a chance to play it again myself, and it will be a truly personal annual comparison on their showing, and I think with that, I will end it. Until next time, guys, this is Fever. Post.
So, since you guys have been so patient, the questions have been fantastic. I'm going to turn it over to Steve. Go.
All right. So I know we're pressed for time, but we have been very satisfied with our pace of development so far. We've been hitting ahead of schedule internally on a lot of things, and we're actually very happy to announce that we're going to be dividing our Alpha 1 into 2 phases. The first phase is going to be a way for us to get a lot of players into different arena modes and test out our castle sieges, test out our city sieges, test out large player battles, raid versus raid, guild fights, and we're happy to announce that first phase of Alpha 1 will be launched early in Q4, this fourth quarter of 2018.
Okay.